Okay, so it's been a while since I read the first two ACOTAR books, but the tithe is supposed to be a bi-yearly thing, but Tamlin actually hadn't been enforcing it throughout the time going on with Amarantha, because I think everything was so much in turmoil in Prithian because of Amarantha that Tamlin was just like, I'm not going to be enforcing the tithe on you guys. Like, it's okay. It's not until Akamath where Sarah needs a way, like a shorthand way to make Rhysand look better and to make Tamlin look worse, where she has Tamlin mention the tithe in the first place, and he's like, oh, this is a bi-yearly thing. I wasn't enforcing it before, but I have to enforce it now, and I know like you don't like it, but like this is something that needs to be done, and I'm not going to listen to you when you talk about like the inherent injustice of it or whatever. It's really not supposed to be like a world building thing. It's supposed to be Sarah's shorthand to tell us that Tamlin is like a shittier ruler than Rhysand, and he is worse at listening to Feyre than Rhysand. The tithe is literally just supposed to be a device to make Tamlin look bad and Rhysand look good. Which is why I don't get that when Feyre went to the Court of Nightmares, she was totally fine with how the people of the Court of Nightmares were being treated. But like, that's another conversation for another day, man. But yeah, it really just comes down to narrative framing, where the tithe is literally just a framing device to make Tamlin look worse. And that's something and that's why the economics of this world just doesn't really make sense, because you can't just throw something in there like that, because then do all the other places have the tithe? Does Rhysand enforce the tithe as a High Lord? Is it just a Spring Court thing? Why is it just a Spring Court thing? And then at that point, it just gets more and more complicated and more mired in weirdness, which is why, like, if Sarah was going to do something like that, I think there needed to be a more organic reason, or she needed to be like more obvious about the economics of this world, because you can't use the economics of a world to make a character look bad and another character look good if you don't know how the economics of this world works. You can't just throw shit in there. Like, imagine like the IRS in America. I don't know how other countries do it. I just know that we have the IRS. Imagine like we file our taxes every year, and then suddenly like they throw in like something new and something random, not for like, and has no basis in like American tax law. We would be confused. This is kind of like that on a fictional narrative standpoint, you know? And this is meant to be like an actual comparison point about why Feyre should like Rhysand better than Tamlin, because when they talk about like the tax system in the Night Court, I think it's Amren, and she's like, oh, well, the Night Court doesn't do the tithe, but the Spring Court does the tithe, though, where she's trying to make the Spring Court look bad and the Night Court look good, and it internalizes to Feyre that Tamlin is worse than Rhysand, when in reality Tamlin and Rhysand are foils. Tamlin and Rhysand are the same.